Hi, hello, welcome back if you're not new. Today I'm drawing SCP-682 in my rendition, the semi-realistic I'd call it. This SCP was suggested to me on the respective subreddit of SCP Foundation, to which I'm very thankful and grateful that they suggested these ideas under my previous drawing of SCP-096 Shy Guy. If you're interested in seeing that, please check the previous video on my channel. It was exactly that, the process of painting the Shy Guy, which you might also find as enjoyable as this one, if not more, because I'm more proud of that video than this one, probably, in the long run. I'm not yet sure. I'm, like, in the middle of doing this thing. Anyway, back to explaining what's going on in the video and doing the narration when narration is required. So, in this current state and stage of the drawing, I am figuring out where everything should go. Basically, I'm creating forms at random, seeing which one of them works, which doesn't, and basically trying to make it work in a perspective that I set for myself, as you can see by the perspective grid in the background. Though I think I did change it again because I felt... oh yeah, here it goes. Yeah, I changed it because I felt like the perspective grid that I chose, the angle of it, was not conveying the whole size, the humongous size of this SCP-682. Well, I'm gonna call it 682 from now on because it's just a mouthful to say. So yeah, I went with this exact angle because I felt that like it conveys the whole idea of it being a huge monster better than everything that I've tried before that. I also wanted it to be in line with my previous drawing because it was as well done from low angle, showcasing the monster at its hugest. Maybe it's again stuck in some small corridor, maybe it got released from its chains that held it in the acid, according to the lore. I'm not sure, you can think that one through. I am also not a big lore guy, so I cannot really come up with something complex for this image, so I go with this most simple, most basic situation that I can draw. But I think it would be really cool if you could come up with your own stories, interpretations of the drawing, and leave your ideas, your small stories in the comments down below so that we all could enjoy and read them. That would be like upholding the spirit of the whole SCP project really well, and I think it would be really appropriate because it's like everybody creates this whole mythos in this universe. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy that. And as for the whole thing about drawing, the design of the SCP that I came up with, I based it on all the previous drawings, but I wanted to give it more of a fully regenerated or recently damaged, like slightly damaged feel, and make it feel like it's really coming to get you. Like, I added those triangular things on the sides of its skull to maybe break out of the old design which everybody's been drawing upon, which is basically just skull of a crocodile or alligator, I think, or maybe even some kind of an elk. I'm not really sure, I'm not a specialist on that. And I also wanted to give it more of a feel of something alien to us. So I think it kind of worked. It's like meaty, gross part of it. I also decided to give it more of a fleshy appeal, give it more mass, give it more chunk, if you please. And all of that design change is one single purpose of making it seem more menacing, bigger, more prone to attack, like it's not afraid to bite you, because honestly, I feel like going with this skeleton vibe that everybody's been going for is a bit less scary, in my personal opinion, that is, because something huge, something malicious coming after you while being all meaty, all heavy, like 1,000 upon 1,000 of pounds of flesh running at a top speed at you is far scarier than some random skeleton or undead doing the same thing. But again, as I said, it's my personal opinion. But I also tried to play around with the brushes in this drawing, so that's another segue into a different thing about the technique that's been used. So the whole trick that I've been using this entire drawing, not yet, but I'm about to use it and you'll see what it is that I use my brushes in a more like stamp way, you know, like a stamp, like you press it against ink, you press it on the paper, it leaves a mark, something like that. Basically, I pick a random value, maybe white value, maybe dark value, and use a textured brush to create form in a way where it looks more appropriate or more cool or more interesting. Basically, it creates a lot of form, and we're really about to hit that point. Right now I'm using the mixer brush in Photoshop just to make sure it all blends well together, and I was a bit off. I'll hit that point in about 20 seconds maybe. So right now I'm still redesigning the whole thing because I thought that the entire arm was not working at all. It was too skinny, too slim for what I'm trying to achieve here. So I started to add more meat and starting to slowly use my textured brushes. Yeah, you can see that now. I'm literally just using texture brush to create some form, some detail where it's need to be done and where it adds the most. It's like evaluating what you're doing this entire time. Yep, there it goes, slowly but meaningfully. I am slowly building my form up bit by bit, creating, averaging, and mixing and mashing values just to see what works best. I'm not really thinking in a sense of a regular 3D in here. I'm mostly thinking about how it is perceived. So I take the whole image, I think about it in terms of 3D obviously when I'm building it up, but when I'm creating forms, shapes, I'm first and foremost trying to create an impressive image that is sticking out, that is memorable, or that is at least cool to look at. And with that specific mindset, I find it a lot easier to just, distance yourself from your drawing, because there are times where you find yourself overdoing something or not being sure how to depict something realistically or true to life, even if it's for some reason, even if it's a monster. I'm not sure why it happens to me, to everybody. And what I try to achieve with that approach is just, thinking in simpler terms, thinking without anything to stop me from being like creative, and if that makes sense. I'm basically trying to distance myself as much as I can from being stuck in my own ways of drawing and painting, because at times it just feels so daunting to just paint something realistically, when in reality all you gotta do is just relax and use a simple brush, like just textured brush, maybe create texture, something. It's just the simpler the solution, the more effective it is at conveying your idea. I'm also entering the stage where I'm making changes that are barely noticeable, nothing that huge, just making sure some forms are readable, maybe adding some more wear and tear on the whole creature thing, because maybe it was attacked by other humans or maybe other SCPs. And I'm also trying to figure out, maybe I need background, maybe I don't, because I think at about this point I did experiment with the background where I used a soft round brush, we can even call it airbrush, to create this unfocused or defocused effect of people being in distance and the camera lens being focused on the two, of which I honestly got rid really quick because it just didn't work with the perspective that I chose for the whole subject. I was trying to create the other background that just didn't work well. Oh, here it is, by the way. Here's my experimentation with all of that, and I just decided, nah, that doesn't work. I also added an arm reaching out like it's being stomped by the SCP. Although I think I forgot to add a shadow there, so it's not as realistic as I'd like it to be, but it will do. A lot of things in art are like, that will do. It will work. For some reason. I don't know. I'm never looking for explanation. If it works for me or it will work in the long run, I'm like, sure, fine, whatever. I'm not that hung up on my details. But despite it looking kinda okay right now in retrospective, you know, I do feel like this background does take away from the whole depth feeling of the image, so I decided to ditch it. And with the whole drawing being nearly, and I decided to just, you know, experiment with coloring. I used overlay, I used hue changing, and here is the result. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. See you later.